My name is Amy Carver. I'm 34 years old. I live in Seattle and I'm a single mother to a 6-year-old boy named Mason. He's bright, loves dinosaurs, and had to spend the first week of spring break in a hospital bed with a 103 fever. This story isn't about me being a mom, though. It's about the person I thought was my rock, my mother, Sandra. And the day she decided her girls' trip to Miami was more important than her own family. 2 weeks before Mason got sick, I called her. Hey. Mom, just a heads up. I've got a minor surgery coming up. I'll need someone to watch Mason while I'm out for a few days. She said, Oh, honey, I'm sure it's nothing. I'll be there. Just tell me when. I remember thinking, this is why I trust her. Even when life gets messy, Mom's always been the one to show up, except she didn't when my surgery date came, so did her text. So sorry, sweetheart. I totally forgot. The girls booked our trip to Miami for the same week. I need this. I haven't been out in ages. You understand, right? No, Mom, I didn't. Understand. And when Mason's fever hit 103 the very next day, I understood even less. My name is Amy Carver. I'm 34 years old. I live in Seattle and I'm a single mother to a 6-year-old boy named Mason. He's bright, loves dinosaurs, and had to spend the first week of spring break in a hospital bed with a 103 fever. This story isn't about me being a mom, though. It's about the person I thought was my rock, my mother, Sandra, and the day she decided her girls' trip to Miami was more important than her own family. 2 weeks before Mason got sick, I called her. Hey, Mom, just a heads up. I've got a minor surgery coming up. I'll need someone to watch Mason while I'm out for a few days. She said, Oh, honey, I'm sure it's nothing. I'll be there. Just tell me when. I remember thinking, this is why I trust her even. When life gets messy, Mom's always been the one to show up, except she didn't. When my surgery date came, so did her text. So sorry, sweetheart. I totally forgot. The girls booked our trip to Miami for the same week. I need this. I haven't been out in ages, you understand, right? No, Mom. I didn't understand. And when Mason's fever hit 103 the very next day, I understood even less. There were 4 days left until my wedding. I was home alone. Kyle was at work. Ashley had said, I'll come early for the rehearsal. But she was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a screenshot popped up on my phone. Sender. Jenna, a friend from college. Her message had only one line. Is this yours? I opened the image, Kyle's profile picture, a chat window with Ashley. Kyle had written, I want to stay with you all night tonight. Ashley had replied, one last time before the wedding. I promise, then we'll forget. My eyes froze. My heart clenched in my throat. It had to be fake, a joke, a setup, someone trying to mess with me. I texted Jenna, when was this taken? My fingers were trembling while I waited for her reply. Just then, a text came from Kyle. The meeting ran long. Is it okay if we just grab dinner out? I read it, and my stomach turned. Then Jenna replied, Last night, she accidentally sent me the screenshot, then deleted it, but I saved it. The house was silent, but inside me, a storm was raging. I didn't say a word that night. Kyle came home, kissed me, and went about his night. Ashley called. I didn't answer. And at 2:17 a.m., I sat alone staring at those 2 sentences on my phone, silently crying. My tears didn't soak into my pillow. They fell into the world of dreams I had built for 4 years, and for the first time, a thought hit me. If I catch them together, our wedding day won't just be mine to remember. They'll never forget it either. Because this story is no longer a love story. It's a real revenge script written in the shadow of fake vows. The next morning, I made myself one promise. No crying, no forgetting, but most importantly, no forgiveness. I put my phone on silent. Kyle kept texting. Ashley kept calling, asking, when are we starting rehearsals? But I wasn't preparing for a rehearsal anymore. I was rehearsing for a different show. First step, I backed up the screenshots. I thanked Jenna and asked her for a favor. I want to show this to everyone on the wedding day. Will you help me? Without hesitation, Jenna said, All the way. The plan was simple, but devastating. I had a friend on the wedding video team. His name was Liam. I gave him a special file. Inside, a PowerPoint slideshow. The first slide, photos of me and Kyle. Second slide, a cute memory with Ashley on my birthday. Third slide, Kyle and Ashley's messages. And the final slide, true love can't hold fake vows. I told Liam, play this right before we walk to the altar. I hid a phone under my wedding dress. I would record everything, every word, every reaction, because this wasn't just my battle anymore. This was a war for every woman who's ever been disrespected and told to be quiet, finally. I opened the small white box in my mom's hope chest. Inside was a letter she wrote on her wedding day 35 years ago. I wrote one too. Today I'm not marrying into lies with fake smiles. Today I'm marrying myself because I deserve truth. The wedding was approaching, but this bride wasn't just wearing a veil. She was armoring up, and the guests wouldn't just be witnesses. They'd be eyewitnesses. The morning of the wedding was strange. No sun, no rain, just a quiet storm building inside me. The stylist came to my place. My hair was done, my makeup flawless. But no one could look me in the eye. My eyes held something else now. Ashley arrived in a white dress, smiling as if nothing ever happened. She brought coffee. I made it with milk just how you like it, she said. I nodded, but inside my thoughts screamed, in a few minutes, nothing in your life will ever taste sweet again. Kyle came navy suit, the one I picked. I even thought his inner pocket still held that little note I wrote, I'm so glad you're my man, but that man, he was just a mask now. We arrived at the venue, guests took their seats. My mom was wiping tears, my dad held my arm. Are you ready, sweetheart? I looked into his eyes for the first time that morning. Today, everything will go exactly as it's supposed to, Dad, I said. The music started. I walked slowly, not toward a happy ending, but toward a revelation. I locked eyes with Kyle. He smiled. Ashley stood beside me, smiling too, like she was still my best friend, like she hadn't just destroyed a decade of trust. The officiant began to speak, and then the screen dropped. First slide, my engagement photo with Kyle. Second, me and Ashley laughing on my birthday. Third, the text Ashley sent to Kyle at 2:14 a.m., you're still coming over tonight, right? The room fell silent. A woman whispered, oh my God. A kid asked, Mom, what does that say? And then I spoke. You won't just hear vows today. You'll witness the fall of a mask, the death of a friendship, and the consequences of a betrayed love. Kyle shifted nervously. Ashley's face drained of color. The officiant paused. Can we continue, please? Kyle whispered. I shook my head. No, Kyle. This vow ends here. But the show? It's just beginning. I pulled out my phone. I played audio recordings. Every word they'd said to each other over the last 4 days. No escape, no hiding, no acting. People began to leave. Ashley ran off the stage in tears. Kyle said nothing, but me, I stood tall, because that day, the wedding didn't start, the truth did. When I walked out of that venue, the whispers behind me said more than any applause ever could. Some called me brave, some called it a spectacle, but I didn't listen to any of them, because that day, I wasn't trying to be a hero in anyone else's story. I was quieting the screams in my own head. Back home, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram. My aunt said, what did you do? My cousin texted, you should have filmed longer. But the message that hit hardest arrived at 11:07 p.m. from Ashley. How dare you humiliate me like that? I only sent one thing back. I didn't humiliate you. I just put what you hid on display. Don't get it twisted. The next morning, the video had gone viral. Revenge in a wedding dress. Cheating exposed at the altar. That tag was trending. Security footage from the venue. Guests' phone videos, every angle, every second, immortalized. Kyle's family called me. His father apologized. His mother said, he messed up, but was that necessary? I said nothing, because that wasn't too much. It was years of silence, purged in one loud, unforgettable moment. Then Kyle called 8 times. I didn't answer. But on his 8th message, he wrote, "I made a mistake, but I really did love you." I smiled, and I sent one voice note. Mistakes happen by accident. You planned this. You destroyed me and our future. But I'm not saying goodbye to you. I'm saying goodbye to this story. That night, I bought myself flowers, not from Kyle, from me, to my silence, to my farewell, because maybe there wasn't a wedding that day. But I made a promise to myself I'd never be a supporting character in someone else's story. Again, after the chaos of that wedding day, for the first time in my life, I was truly alone. But this loneliness wasn't a punishment. It was the quiet before rebirth. I didn't leave the house for a week. I muted all notifications, but the internet didn't stop. The video had spread. Millions had seen it. Some called me TikTok's bride of justice. Others wrote, a real queen. But me? I was just a woman, betrayed, broken, but most of all, no longer silent. Friends of Kyle and Ashley tried to defend them. They're sorry, they said. They couldn't be as strong as you, but I didn't care. I was busy building myself back. First step, I took a trip alone. I grabbed my passport and flew to Rome. I stood before the Trevi Fountain. I didn't make a wish, I just tossed a coin and whispered to myself, I am my own wish now. When I returned, I dove into work. Started a new team, launched a project. Power of their bride each week, I shared a new story. Women who were cheated on, abandoned, dismissed, but who, like me, rose from the ashes. Soon, strangers were messaging me, you. Gave me the strength to speak up. Your video saved me. That's when I realized I didn't just take revenge, I lit a spark. One morning, Kyle called again. This time, I answered. I said one thing. I forgive you, but you don't exist anywhere in my future. And I hung up, because some endings don't need loud goodbyes, some deaths don't need tombstones, and some farewells free you, even while they burn. This was my story, a wedding day that started with a dream and ended with tears on a pillow, betrayed by the 2 people I loved most, my best friend, and the man I planned to marry, but I didn't let them write the ending. I took the pen back. Ashley and Kyle are gone from my life. But the pain they caused became the fire that forged my strength. People still say, what you did was too harsh. I just smile, because the quiet ones break, but the ones who speak, they make history. Now it's your turn. Have you ever been betrayed by the 2 people you trusted most? Have you had to end your wedding story in tears? And most importantly, have you ever found the courage to speak your truth, even when everyone told you to stay quiet? Share your story in the comments, because your story might become someone else's courage, and never forget real revenge is when you stand back up for yourself. Elijah's birthday was approaching. It was the first one we'd spend without my mother. But also, the first since he'd truly come back to life. I started preparing weeks in advance. I filled the house with balloons and toys. I wanted it to be a day filled only with joy. The guest list was simple. Our neighbors, a few friends from Zaydet, school, and only those who truly stayed. But 3 days before the birthday, I found an envelope in the mailbox. Sender, my mom. Inside was a letter and a photo. The photo showed her smiling, holding a drink in Hawaii, from that infamous girls' trip. The letter's first line read, "Will you ever be able to forgive me?" Honestly, my hands trembled. But it wasn't from anger anymore. It was just exhaustion. On the morning of Elijah's birthday, I got up before he did and went into the living room. I placed a note on the table. On the back, I'd drawn the house from his sketchbook, and underneath it, I wrote, "Only the ones who never leave are worth celebrating." The birthday came, the cake was cut, gifts were unwrapped, and when Elijah shouted through laughter, "This is the best birthday ever!" My phone rang. It was my mom. I didn't answer, but I listened to her voicemail. "I want to see my grandson." Please give me a chance. I already had my answer, but this time it wasn't going to be in words. That night, I hugged Elijah and whispered, "Sometimes gifts arrive late, sometimes incomplete, but I promise you, your gift will always be the ones who stayed." Because in this life, I'd learned the most important lesson. Real family are the ones who never leave, and real love is for those who never had to come back. My name is Harper Langston. I'm 34 years old, and this story didn't begin when my mother said she couldn't watch her grandson for one day. It began when she proved she never deserved that day to begin with. Elijah is 6 years old now, and still some nights, just before he falls asleep, he asks, "Where's Grandma?" And I smile. Every time I give him the same answer. Sometimes, people just leave, but with the ones who stay, we build something even better. My mother, she never reached out after that last call. Maybe she finally understood. Being a grandmother isn't a title for photo albums. It's a role you show up for. Years later, I opened that box again. The plane ticket was still inside, a memory of a journey never taken, and a symbol of a relationship never restored. But I made a decision. No one will ever see me as their backup plan again, because in this life, I am my own priority in my story. Now it's your turn. Have you ever been abandoned by a family member at your most vulnerable moment? Did a parent turn their back on you when you needed them most? Are you still trying to forgive them? Or have you finally drawn a new line for your own peace? Share your story in the comments, because your story might be someone else's awakening. And remember, true love is written by those who stay in hard times. Everything else belongs to silence.